No bills, no noise, and no daily grind. Living off-grid sounds like a dream to many, but is it really what it seems? In this video, we explore the truth behind off-grid living in 2025, from freedom to challenges and everything in between. Whether you are curious or considering the switch, this might open your eyes. Before we dive in, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and join us as we uncover the real off-grid lifestyle. 1. Discovering the off-grid lifestyle. I first learned about off-grid living from a documentary that showed life without modern systems. The idea of being self-reliant and free from utility bills sparked something deep inside me. I imagined waking up to nature instead of alarms and commuting through forests, not highways. Off-grid homes had solar panels, gardens, water tanks, and a quiet, peaceful kind of freedom. The lifestyle seemed challenging, but also full of meaning and connection with the earth. I started watching real-life stories of people who built cabins and lived without electricity. The simplicity of their lives inspired me to question what I truly needed to be happy. Each story made me reflect on my own consumption and dependency on modern conveniences. I realized how much of my daily stress came from noise, clutter, and endless notifications. 2. Building the ideal off-grid home. Designing an off-grid home requires creativity, planning, and a clear sense of purpose. I had to choose materials that were eco-friendly and able to withstand extreme weather. The structure had to be small enough to manage, but spacious enough to feel comfortable. I prioritized natural light, insulation, and airflow to reduce dependence on heating. Water collection was essential, so I installed gutters and a storage system for rainwater. A composting toilet and graywater system made the setup more sustainable and efficient. Solar panels were expensive, but became the backbone of my off-grid power supply. Every part of the house had to serve a function and contribute to long-term survival. There was no room for luxury or waste, only purpose and practicality in every design. 3. Powering life with renewable energy. Solar energy became the lifeline of my daily routine, providing power for basic needs. I learned to calculate energy use based on sunlight, weather, and the season of the year. Cloudy days taught me how to conserve power and prioritize only essential appliances. Battery storage systems allowed me to keep energy for nighttime and emergencies. I had to let go of high-energy devices like microwaves, dryers, and electric heaters. Instead, I used propane for cooking and wood for heat during cold mountain nights. Living this way made me aware of every watt and more respectful of natural resources. I also explored wind and hydro power options for times when solar was not enough. A backup generator provided extra support, but I used it only when absolutely needed. 4. Finding clean water off the grid. Water is life, and off-grid living requires a smart and reliable system for water collection. I installed large rainwater tanks that collected water from the roof during every rainfall. Filtration was key, so I used sand, charcoal, and ultraviolet filters to make water safe for use. I also learned how to test water quality and check for bacteria and chemical imbalance. A hand pump connected to a deep well gave me backup water in case of long dry spells. All graywater was reused in the garden through a filter system that nourished the soil. Every drop of water was tracked and used carefully, especially during the summer months. I avoided chemical cleaners that could contaminate my system and stuck to natural products. Rain dancing became a joke in my house, but also a symbol of how precious water really is. 5. Growing my own food. A big part of off-grid living is learning to grow your own food for daily sustenance. I started small with raised beds for herbs, vegetables, and fruits I enjoyed eating. Each plant required care and taught me patience and the importance of soil health. I composted all food scraps and used them to feed the soil and reduce overall waste. Pests were handled without chemicals, using natural repellents and physical barriers. Rainwater and drip irrigation kept the garden alive even in dry and windy seasons. I also raised chickens for eggs and learned to rotate crops to maintain soil fertility. Harvest days were satisfying and reminded me of the work behind every meal on the plate. I learned how to preserve food through canning, drying, and fermenting for winter use. 6. Embracing simplicity and minimalism. Living off-grid made me question how much I truly needed to live a happy and full life. I reduced my belongings to essentials and kept only what served a clear and useful purpose. Clothes were chosen for durability, comfort, and weather rather than fashion or trends. Each item had a place and nothing was stored without intention or frequent use. There was no room for clutter or hoarding when space and resources were limited. Entertainment came from books, walks, and stargazing, not digital devices or streaming. Without distractions, I found more time to reflect, think, and be present in each moment. I learned that joy came from doing, not buying, and from making, not consuming. Simplicity gave me clarity and reduced the mental weight I once carried in city life. 7. Facing off-grid challenges. Off-grid life is not easy, and many days tested my patience, strength, and resourcefulness. There were moments of fear during storms with no backup if power systems failed. Winters were harsh and required stockpiling food, water, firewood, and other essentials. Sometimes equipment broke, and I had to fix things with limited tools and no outside help. Loneliness crept in, and I missed the company of neighbors and city comforts at times. Medical care was far away and required careful planning in case of accidents or illness. Wild animals were a risk, and I had to secure food and shelter against potential threats. I learned to be calm in emergencies and trust in the systems I had worked hard to build. Failures taught me resilience, and every mistake became a lesson I would not forget. 8. Building community in nature. Though I lived off-grid, I was not truly alone and found others who shared similar values. Local homesteaders became friends, and we traded goods, knowledge, and support regularly. We helped each other build systems, harvest crops, and solve off-grid challenges together. Community events like market days or skill workshops brought everyone closer each month. We shared books, seeds, tools, and stories around fires under the open night sky. Living off-grid taught me that independence does not mean isolation or loneliness. Together, we created a network of care where each person offered what they had to give. I learned from elders who had lived this life for decades and respected the land deeply. We celebrated small wins like a good harvest or the repair of a broken solar system. 9. Shifting my mindset and priorities. Off-grid living transformed how I thought about success, happiness, and daily routines. I no longer cared about hustle status or external validation from jobs or social media. Peace became my goal, and each decision was weighed by how it affected my mental health. I valued time with nature over digital content and sunsets over television screens. Success was measured in days of joy, learning, and calm, not money or material things. I stopped rushing and allowed myself to move with the pace of seasons and daylight. Nature became my teacher, showing me when to work, rest, and pause without guilt. I found beauty in repetition and gratitude in the simple acts of daily living. Money mattered less because my needs were lower and my focus was on self-sufficiency. 10. Is it worth the hype? Living off-grid is not a trend, but a deep and challenging commitment to a different life. It requires hard work, patience, flexibility, and a willingness to learn through failure. But the rewards include freedom, peace, clarity, and a connection to the natural world. I discovered what truly matters and let go of everything that once weighed me down. Each sunrise felt like a gift, and each sunset reminded me of the power of quiet days. I learned skills that gave me confidence and a stronger sense of purpose in life. The simplicity was not always easy, but it was always meaningful and rooted in truth. I would not trade this life for the noise and rush of my past city days ever again. Living off-grid gave me my life back and taught me what real independence feels like. Living off-grid can be peaceful, rewarding, and empowering, but it is not for everyone. The hype is real, but so is the hard work. Could you see yourself doing it? Tell us in the comments. And if this gave you something to think about, do not forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more eye-opening stories on life beyond the norm. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.